Hello. Yeah, if you're like me, you eagerly waited the new coronavirus sort of update thing from the government, and then realised it didn't really tell us much. At least I didn't take much away from it. The only thing I really took away from it was that basically there was going to be a thing with like the lockdown, and that the lockdown would basically be done on like a 1 to 5 score system. I got that bit, but I didn't take much else away from it. All right, Mike. Hope you're not too hungover. Yeah, so I got the bit that they'd obviously be saying that, but I think they'd hinted at that for a few days ago, so that wasn't really anything new. But it was basically that, it would be going up and down lockdown stuff based on what's going on, but I didn't learn much, so I don't know about you. But hello, everybody joining the chat. Show a gas mask. There you go. There's that alright Chinese one that's on AliExpress that I've linked to quite a few times before. But most of the stream, I don't really want to talk about gas masks. I want to talk about the new corona stuff, and is it going to change anything? So I think they said there's going to be some relaxation of stuff to do with parks. Let's see if the BBC or someone's got like a not a downgrade, what's the word for it? Like a breakdown of what they said might happen. Not really. So, yeah, I mean, that's helpful, isn't it, if the main news article on it doesn't really tell you a time frame for anything. Yeah, apparently on the 1st of June something might change, but do you reckon that's a good price or not, Yonan? Depends what mask it is, I suppose. Wow, Avon, that's a problem. We don't really know because they were very vague. Doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, there was that, wasn't there, Call Sign Blitz? Well, they set out a bit of a plan, Alex. That might be a good thing, and I think maybe using a DEFCON style system to monitor how well we're doing or not well, how well we're doing. That might work, but for the most part, no, I didn't take much away from it because I thought I was a bit confused. Yeah, the thing is, in Scotland and rural areas, I don't think they need to be as strict on things. Like most people have been saying that on the radio and TV, it should be based on population density and whatever of an area. Have they actually said the furlough money's ending in June? Because I've heard a load of people saying the furlough money ends on a certain date, but I've not actually seen any links to that. Yeah, Andrew, welcome back. I've not seen you in a while, but yes, it is 8 o'clock. And what we learned today is at 7 p.m. when it was on, we were meant to be being told a load of stuff, and then we didn't really find out much, did we? So yeah, hello everybody joining the chat. Oh, do you mean the MCU2P, your nan? Yeah, you mean the MCU2P, don't you? The MSA Millennium's the newer version of that. I mean, personally, I wouldn't pay much for MCU2P just because they're pretty old and yellow at this stage. Yeah, the JSP Force 8's good, isn't it, Daniel? It's a good mask, but sadly they're all overpriced now. But I keep mine in my car, so if I'm ever out and if I ever need to go out for anything, it's literally in my car ready to grab along with a dust mask. Yeah, Call Sign Blitz. If they stop the furlough payment, but people can't go back to work, they're fucked. So I don't think they will stop the furlough stuff. I mean, the most interesting thing I've been listening to recently is a lot of people thinking this is going to be the start of universal basic income over here, just because everybody who's now had a taste of money for doing nothing and then additional money from working probably wants to keep a benefit system like that. Oh, I think tomorrow or Tuesday, probably not tomorrow as it's a bank holiday, my digital ionization chamber should be delivered. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be good for doing videos on, but I guess a lot of people won't really get that. But so yeah, that's a lot higher than normal, isn't it? So what, double normal radiation levels? But yeah, to give you some idea of how high that is actually, Son of Sono, Although that's lower than background radiation normally is here, the gun safe where I keep all my radioactive samples, if you put the Geiger counter directly on the door, it's 0.5 millirontgen per hour normally to 1 millirontgen per hour. So, yeah, that's fairly high if, that's where I've got a load of samples stored, and that's, from rain coming down. But I think there's probably going to be a second wave in Almas Anglo. I don't see how they can avoid that. We don't really call them flea markets here, Ian explains. They're normally called car boot sales. But yeah, that's where I got an S10 for like £15 with the carrier. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream and subscribe. Weapons and stuff, so that's Joshua addressing me. He said, the most stupid thing Boris Johnson said was that people can drive to beaches and sunbathe. Hundreds of people gather around those places. Yeah. The problem is, I think it's meant to be, if you go to parks and beaches, you're meant to be social distancing. The problem is a lot of people won't be. But they have said the police can issue bigger fines, haven't they now? I don't know what the amount of fines will be, but thank you to Guy. It's growing back now after the accidental shaving accident. Cool. Do you like the PMK2? I've never used the PMK2, but the PMK1 and PMK3 I kind of find are meh masks. Russian masks are pretty interesting like that. I think the Russians have made one or two really good masks, and a lot of masks are kind of meh. Like they're good enough to protect the wearer, but they're not anything special. Yeah, I kind of get that, Alex. They were laughing at that last night on LBC, the Stay Alert thing. Yeah, that's been a thing for ages, Arnold, on here, attracting messages. It used to be a thing. I don't know if people do it so much now, but it used to be a thing months ago or like years ago on streams where people would insult somebody and retract the message before a moderator saw it to try and pretend they hadn't done it. You're free to like any mask you like, Charlie the Doomslayer. I'm just saying I don't particularly like those masks, but I wouldn't pay £55 for a 40mm hose, Daniel. I know the Avon and like NATO-made hoses are a lot rarer than the like Russian ones, obviously, but personally, I wouldn't pay that for a hose, no, especially when you can buy brand new Chinese hoses for like £5 to £10. That's interesting, Summer. I hope her cancer treatment and everything goes really well, but what is that, radiotherapy or what? Or have they put some sort of tracer in her? Because I know when people have like radioactive tracers put in them, you can measure them with a Geiger counter. Yeah, to be honest, Daniel, there's some stuff even before this mask inflation that was crazy money. I'm all right, Robert Botman. That's a confusing name. So Robot Botman. What I've done today is, if you want the full boring thing I've done today, I filmed a YouTube video. I watched John Wick 2. That was pretty good because I watched John Wick 1 for the first time a couple of days ago and thought, well, that's a really good film, actually. I wasn't expecting that much of it, but I liked it. So I filmed a video on maces versus warhammers. Sadly, it's not a very exciting video. It's not like maces smashing warhammers or something. It's just comparing the two. If I can get, there we go. So it was comparing maces and warhammers. This is the Warhammer Weapon Collector built me, which is really nice. And I realised I hadn't done any proper videos on it on this channel, so I wanted to do one just talking about warhammers in general. And then did a video call with my mum because she's obviously, I don't see her very often at the moment because, all the social distancing and that. So not much, in all honesty, really, today. We definitely need to ease out of lockdown, Patriotic Brit, but I didn't take much away today from what they wanted to be doing. Okay, Son of Sonos, that's interesting. So, Luditium 177, let me Google it, sounds interesting. So, do they put that in a bit like, it's a beta emitter. So I assume that they put it where it's going to be used as a cancer treatment to bombard the cells inside, hoping to kill the localized cells that are cancerous. That would make total sense. Yeah, makes sense to me now. But yeah, it's sort of interesting that your mum's giving off radiation, not that we'd wish cancer on anybody, of course, and stuff like that. But, it's an interesting thing, isn't it, if you've got a Geiger counter? I mean, M17A2s are cool masks, Nintendo. Again, it depends what you really want to collect or whatever. Because as I've said before, I've got like an assortment of different masks. Mostly I try and review masks to say how good they'd be if somebody wanted them for practical uses or just to look at different masks from different time periods in history. There's channels which are much better than mine if you want really good comprehensive historical videos. Like looking at a certain mask, what companies made them, what years they were all issued from, how variants changed throughout the masks through different periods. If you didn't see, I recommended Bot's channel earlier, Bot Swono, however his name's pronounced, because he's doing quite good videos now, sort of all comprehensive on how, different masks change during times and stuff like that. Or, like more really detailed videos on individual masks showing, like components of it. I'm trying to think of the right way of saying it, which aren't really what my videos are about, because, that's one thing I get criticism for on some videos. In all honesty, yes, I could give you lots more information in a single video about a mask, but I don't think a lot of my viewers want that, really. Because, I think a lot of people come to these videos not for a complete history on a certain mask, but for a bit of history, how good I think the mask is and all stuff like that. He's in my recommended channel list if you want to check him out. Rave Bra said, I chose Fred's when I asked for an apocalyptic film, thought it would cheer me up, I put on. Good recommendation, though, thank you. Yeah, Fred's isn't a feel-good film, is it? Unless you're a sociopath, I imagine. Yeah, I suppose the logic of it, Sonosono, works, doesn't it? Because they used to use radium for skin cancer for that reason, because you could put radium... They can still use strontium-90 for skin cancer, but the idea is you basically put it, because it's a beta emitter, on the bit of, that's causing the cancer, like especially with skin cancer, and because it's constantly bombarding it with radiation, it kills the cells, forcing them to regrow. There you go. So click his channel and go to it now. Sounds pretty good. Let me get up Dwarven Miner, and have a look. I know you weren't addressing it to me, but let's have a look. British Osprey Mark 11. Does that have the plates in or not? Even the carrier for £30 isn't bad, because you can find the plates for it separately. But £30, even though the Ospreys aren't meant to be like the best, armor vests, it's still quite a good price if you just wanted a plate carrier in of itself. How do you mean, Henry? He says, how do people breathe through the filters in old gas masks that don't have the hole to inhale from at the bottom? Some filters have the holes in the side, but it's in general just, you've got the intake bit of the filter on one side. Somewhere else on the filter, you've got the outtake, or maybe I said that the wrong way around. Basically, the bit going into the mask, let's call that the intake. Then you've got the other side of the filter with a hole in it somewhere, whether it be the bottom or the side. When you breathe air through, it goes through the network of bits through the filter, which filters the air. Does that make sense? Plates are 30 quid. If you can get any kind of ballistic plates for 30 quid, that doesn't sound bad at all. Or are you saying it doesn't include the plates for £30? Yeah, I suppose if it's a beta emitter, it going about 2 meters would make sense, yeah. But one microsievert's not a very high dose, is it? It's not like, it's not like it's scary for people around her or anything. Oh, so it doesn't include the plates, but it's £30. Well, I'd still go for it. Does it have the soft filler in it, like the Kevlar filler? Or is it just literally the jacket? Wow, Nintendo, the background radiation level around here, which is the same as all the other houses around here, is 0.2 to about 0.25 microsieverts per hour, which is pretty standard for background radiation. It's high compared to some countries in Europe, but it's not dangerously high or anything. Like I was saying, if you go right next to the safe where I keep my samples, and you put a Geiger counter next to the safe, it's a few times higher than that. But the point is that, you can't people outside the house or in most of the rooms in the house are never exposed to more than background radiation. Because if you were going to get radioactive check sources, even if you can legally own them, don't do anything stupid with them. Don't put them somewhere where you're going to accidentally irradiate yourself or other people. The idea is learn of a safe place in your house to put them where, people aren't going to be sat in that room next to the safe or box or whatever they're in, and you'll be fine. It might be Harris if you can find a reliable source for it. The issue is, a lot of the time, I don't think you can with a lot of old stuff like litmus paper and that. Well, I mean, scientific litmus paper, of course you could find that from science supplies. But I don't think litmus paper in general would be a good use for sort of stuff. The thing that might be more useful is that fish tank, like multi-purpose chemical identifier that shows ammonia and other things. How well that would work in the air, I don't know, but in theory, I imagine you can have it. Thank you very much, Ravebra. Nintendo says something very nice. He says he radiates people with his smiles. Isn't that nice? I'd say more and more people are, unfortunately, where I am, Balding Towski. It's not loads of people doing it here, but, right from the beginning, there are people that weren't following it. And I'd say as time goes on, yes, less and less people are following it, unfortunately. But I've also seen random people, wearing masks and that now. So, that's a good thing, I guess. So. Chemistry Curiosity says, is there a filter that can protect me from radon and daughters? I think radon gets absorbed or adsorbed by activated charcoal. So if there's radon in the air, activated charcoal in a vapor filter would protect you from it to a degree. Imagine some radon could probably get through the filter. But in terms of like your house and stuff like that, the best thing is just to have a well-ventilated house. That's basically when radon becomes an issue in a lot of houses, is when they're really airtight. But radon itself isn't much of a threat if you're only briefly exposed to it, because basically radon is just the equivalent of like smoking however many cigarettes for however long you're opposed to it. Sorry, not opposed to it. Exposed to it. Radon is an alpha emitter, Chris. So what it basically does is it bombards your lungs and respiratory tract with alpha radiation as of when it's inhaled and exhaled. So basically, like saying, it's kind of like the equivalent of smoking cigarettes. It doesn't leave tar in the lungs, but it does cause cellular damage to the lungs when it's in your lungs. Everybody's always exposed to a little bit of radon anyway, because it's always in the air to an extent. It's just that, obviously, if you're in an enclosed space of radioactive samples that produce radon, or you've got a house with lots of granite in it that isn't very well ventilated, the radon levels build up and you're exposed to much higher levels in background. I'd recommend you wear a mask if you're out and about, Andy, because you're lowering your risk of inhaling stuff, aren't you? Yeah, if you get the combination filters for it, chemistry, like let's say military CBRN filters, or like ABEC style filters or A2P3 filters, whatever, I reckon that would give you some protection from radon. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Chernobyl series. Not at the moment, Henry, because this stream I was mostly going to try and talk to people about the coronavirus stuff. I can do that in another stream. What's dippy eggs? Is that like toast in boiled eggs, or is it something else, Photo Hunter? I've never heard the expression dippy eggs before. No, the GP5s are not NATO 40mm robot bot man. GP5s are 40mm Ghost. Lily, I think it would be technically a good thing, because I mean it's going to lower transmission rate. I mean, I've said before as well that if everybody was wearing surgical masks or just some cloth around their face, that would lower transmission rates quite a bit if everybody was doing it, because they don't give you much protection yourself. They protect other people. Everybody would have to do it. But, if you go to the store or, shopping with a mask on, you're at least reducing the risk of infecting yourself and others. So I think it's personally a good thing. The only legitimate concerns I've heard about people doing it is if it's a security threat. Because, for the most part, does it offend you if you see somebody else wearing a mask? I don't know, but, I can't think of any real damage it's doing. I mean, were they distancing themselves from the neighbours, Richard? Because this is where it gets complicated, doesn't it? But I mean, technically, if you've been told not to do something, you shouldn't be really sort of pushing the rules. Yeah, sadly, Henry, I've seen that. Yeah, people cutting holes in the front of their, mask. So, I've got a better airflow now. It's like, well done, you've completely ruined the point of the mask. S10 for £70 is a good price, yes. At the moment, especially with what the prices are like. Yeah, I saw there are some S10s on eBay for buy it now with filters, aren't there, at the moment, for like 70 quid. Yeah, VS, so it's still a copy of the US drinking tube system, so it'd work with American canteens as well. It's the same connector the M17A2 uses, the M40 uses, and all of those. No, sadly, W3 Vils, there aren't a lot of filters that fit the GP5 that are still in production. Some Russian and some Chinese filters do. There might still be some Polish filters produced at a GOST, but I don't think there are. Or if there aren't many. There's some Czech GOST filters still produced, but in general, GOST filters, there's like less and less companies making them now. So I think we all just wish that the Russians and Chinese would just move everything to 40mm NATO just because it's more convenient. Right, if you get an actual Polish MP5 and it's in good condition, Chris, they're all right. The issue is the Polish MP5 is a licensed copy of a French mask. I always forget its real name, but it gets called the ARFA, I think it is a lot. And the problem is the French one is actually made from really cheap kind of nasty rubbers that don't age well. Like they dry out and go plasticky over time and become useless. A lot of sites selling MP5s are actually selling the French mask, which isn't as good. So on paper, if you could get the French or Polish masks in really good condition, that's a good price for them. The issue is, in general, you're more likely to be getting one of the old French masks, not one of the Polish ones that hasn't been stored very well, and it's probably not going to be airtight by the time you get it. All right, cheers, Connor. See you, Connor, if you're off. If you've damaged your phone, that's annoying. Yeah, Charlie, I think for a lot of people, they might start off, taking some stuff to deal with the pandemic, and then they stop after a while. The easiest way of telling the difference from the front is the MP5 has mask pole written across the bit that's like there on it. And the MP5 has a circular voice diaphragm design, where it looks like a circle and then a smaller circle and a smaller circle on the cover. And I think the French ones have like a hole pattern design. There's quite a few other minor differences as well, but they're the easy ones to see from a picture of somebody selling it. But again, the issue is if a seller's selling like loads of them, you're probably not going to get one that looks like the one in the picture anyway. I've been cleaning other rooms, Kyle, not this one. Yeah, ARFA, Lily, that's the correct word. Arthur or whatever it is, yeah. Although I think it has technically got like a name with a load of numbers in it as its official like mask designation. Yeah, the Polish MP4 isn't too bad. It's a pretty similar copy to the M17s. So I think it's actually better than the M10s. It's weird because a lot of people go, no, the MP4s aren't as well made as the M10s. But I think because although the MP4s feel like they're made from slightly cheaper rubbers and everything, because the MP4s are closer to the original M17 design, I think they're actually a bit better for that reason. Whereas the Czech M10 feels like the Czech said, we know best, and changed things on the M17 that didn't really work out. Well, at the moment, Magnificent Bar Steward, I don't think anybody knows because we're hoping it'd be more clear. But at the moment, we're at level 4, according to the government. If it got really, really bad, we'd be at level 5. And if a vaccine's made and everything gets fixed, it's level 1. So at the moment, we're level 4. It'd be good if we get to level 3 and then level 2. But I imagine that for the most part, we're going to probably fluctuate just between level 4 and level 3 most of the time. Thank you, Richard. That's the name of it. But eventually, as I was saying, if for the people who are interested, when the other rooms get cleaned up enough, I might put some shelving in other rooms and then move some of the stuff behind me into other rooms so it'll look a bit tidier. But the problem is, a lot of the masks are good in this room in the sense that unless I open the curtains there, they're not going to get hit by UV light. Whereas in a lot of the other rooms in the house, there's like, windows that don't have curtains or skylights or whatever, and that lets UV light in. And I found before, sometimes if I try and store masks, thankfully not rare ones, but if I try and store masks in other rooms, sometimes they end up getting UV damage just over time because they're constantly always being exposed to a certain amount of sunlight per day. Yeah, let me add you, Justin Vapor. Make sure when you join, you read the server rules, because like I've said before, I'll just repeat it now. Sometimes when we get people join Discord, they don't read the rules or choose not to follow them, and then they decide once they're not following the rules, oh, it's unfair if a mod punishes me or gives me a warning or whatever for not following the rules. I mean, most of the rules are just things like don't be racist, don't be a dick to people, but sadly not everybody can follow those rules. But yeah, the easy thing is just be nice and have a chat with people on there, and you will never run into any issues. I'm very remotely Christian, RC Guy, in the sense that I think Jesus was a cool dude. How much I believe in all of it, I don't know. But, I don't have anything against people of other faiths or no faith or whatever, It's just... Rajiv came on, I think, a couple of streams ago, Henry, to say hello. He comes on now and again, but I think he just says he's been busy or, watching stuff a lot recently. But, Gretchen popped up on one stream a while ago, Henry, to say hello, and that she might be on a bit later, but she was doing some study or something, and then popped off. I think she's been on one of Weapon Collector's streams for a bit, and then said she might come on a bit later, and didn't, but she's around. I think she's just busy a lot of the time. Yeah, I think, Chris, they're the Chinese Chris Stevenson. This is, I think the King masks are basically, they used to be just Israeli masks, didn't they? But I think now they're Chinese rip-offs of Israeli masks upsold for even more money. Well, I mean, technically the Israeli masks are Draeger Simplex, isn't it, the 4A1? But you know what I mean. I think if you go on AliExpress, you can find the exact same mask they sell, but for less money. Yeah, there's a few R gas masks, aren't there? Or Reddit gas mask things. I tend not to go on them, because the problem is I find a lot of, discussion groups like forums and whatever Reddits, that over time, a lot of them turn into quite tribal places. Thank you, 11HHH30, I appreciate it. If you like going on those places, it's fine. But, the problem is I found pretty much every forum you go on after long enough, it ends up being, it gets overrun by political discussion or whatever else. And when I say discussion, I mean more like people throwing shit at each other, in all honesty. That's normally how it boils down. But so AK47 says, any idea how much a PA2 rated filter gives vapor protection? Is that the Chinese ones? In theory, they should be equivalent to A2 in terms of vapor, as in like normal Western ABEC, like A2 rated filters, but the P is only P1 on those. Whereas on most like Western combination filters, they always tend to be P3. But sadly, it seems on a lot of the Chinese ones are literally always P1. Who's nice people then, Henry? Sorry, I missed who you were saying about. Oh, what? Altrix and Gretchen? To be honest, there's a lot of nice people that come on these streams. I think there's always a few dickheads that try and ruin it for everybody. But I think, in all honesty, it's more of a case of just ignoring the dickheads, because I think they like people to constantly talk about them. So that's why, as I've said to people before, regardless of who's trolling or doing whatever, just try and have a nice discussion, keep it friendly, and keep it a good chat with nice people. And then everybody gets a better time about it, rather than whinging about e-drama. I haven't seen the fantastic Pooh Man in a while, Preston Cooper. He normally comes on every stream and then gets blocked pretty quickly by somebody. But yeah, Pooh Man's one of the more interesting trolls, I think. That's annoying, RC guy, but yeah. So how many people may she have infected? It's to do with Stalker. Frog boy frog. In Stalker, blowouts are like when there's a like there's kind of like the zone has an emission or whatever, that kills people or turns them into zombies, whatever it does, depending on which mod you're playing. So you need to get to cover when there's a blowout. It's like a size storm type thing. All I can suggest, Dear Love Survival, for storing pretty much any mask, if you want it to last the longest amount of time possible, is in its satchel, probably in a cupboard where it's dry but dark. That way it's not going to be exposed to moisture, and it's not going to be exposed to UV light or anything like that. But, if a mask's made of cheap materials, it will eventually just go, Free Fred masks. Do you mean the Chinese rip-off of the do you mean like the Chinese rip-off of the 3M one, where it's got like the two 3M filter mounts? Like, well, one 3M filter mount there, one 3M filter mount there, and the 40mm one in the front. No, I don't. Because at the moment, because post is so slow from China, I've not bought one to review. But it's essentially that mask just with two extra filter mounts, isn't it? From what I understand, if you keep the blanking plugs in the filter port you're not using, it's absolutely fine as a cheap basic mask, yeah. GSDO1 says, got my Fushida mask on an NBC filter put by students, but don't want to open that. Will any P3 filter do? Any 40mm P3 filter will fit, yes, on a Fushida fine. And it would work very well with them because it's a great mask. Right, here's the problem, Justin. Myra, from what I understand, is a company that resells other people's products. Like, legally, it's all done properly above board. But the issue is with Myra is basically they buy Czech-produced masks by companies like, I think, AVEC and some others, and then basically sell them for more money. Cheers, Dwarven Miner, I appreciate it. So basically what they do is, say there's a Czech OM90 or whatever, they basically get that, then they sell it at a higher price and put their own brand name on it. Now, if you can get a Myra mask for not too much money, that's fine, but the issue is, I said that it's not really their masks. It's a bit like what we have in the UK with crossbows, where you get like the Polang and Man Kung crossbows from Taiwan. So what a lot of companies basically do is import those crossbows, put a couple of stickers on them that say like Armex or Anglo Arms and all that sort of stuff, and then they sell them at a higher price. So it's literally just that, it's like a rebranded mask made by somebody else. The Fushida A4 is like one of the comfiest masks I've ever used, dear love. I really want to get an F2 at some point, but well, the problem is at the moment, Justin, is there's lots of stuff where everything's just selling out on eBay or selling for silly money. So I would say just look around, try and find something at a good price. I mean, AliExpress, if they're still shipping to a lot of places and, it's not delayed for months and months and months, you can get some quite good, reasonably priced masks on AliExpress. The issue is that, for the because you're buying directly from some of the Chinese manufacturers, not from another company just rebranding them or importing them and then reselling them. But yeah. Well, I don't know if MaskPole ever officially sold them AK-47 because, they were surplus filters that always end up on the surplus market, like a lot of surplus does, because, comrade, you want to buy this warehouse full of supplies. But in terms of, annoyingly, I don't know if MaskPole still make filters in GOST, because FP5 filters originally had a GOST thread on them, even though they said NATO, or RD40X for 1/7, like the 1/7 twist or whatever it is. But they were actually GOST, and it was because they were making GOST filters claiming they were NATO. So, look, we are compliant with NATO membership. We are making NATO filters. But eventually, it seems Maskpol put proper NATO tooling on a lot of their machines and now just make NATO filters. I don't know if Maskpol still does make any GOST filters like independently that are advertised as GOST. Chris Stevenson says, will any 40mm filter fit the MP5? The MP5 is 40mm NATO to mask itself, so yes, any 40mm filter should fit it fine. For those of you that don't know, basically, GOST and NATO filters fit NATO masks fine, but only GOST filters fit into GOST masks because how the screw thread's slightly different on the filters. Henry, I think, slammed his head into the keyboard by the look of that. I've never had any of those gas mask collector. I know they exist, but essentially I think the old FP5 filters were just the P5 filters, just with a different label on them, because they were definitely the same thing. I've got some old Maskpol FP211 filters that actually specify on the label that they're GOST, and other ones that don't, but are still GOST threaded. So I think what they probably originally did was made the P5 filter and made the FP5 filter. Both of them were GOST, but technically the P5 was the only one that was officially GOST. And then later on, they changed the tooling, and then the FP5 filter did just become a NATO filter. Yeah, I think with Anglo Arms, again, they're another company that sells other people's products. They're basically just mass importing knives from China and then reselling them. But some of them are absolutely fine stuff, with a lot of those companies. It's just don't pay too much for what they're selling. Dear Love Survival says, weapons and stuff, I gave you a good shout out in my Scott Vision 2-1000 video. Thank you, I've not watched it, but thank you very much. I'll check that out at some point if you remind me when I'm not streaming, because annoyingly I can't go to people's videos while I'm streaming. It doesn't let you do that anymore. Actually, I can spot your video there, so I've just clicked it. I'll put the link in for people. I've not obviously watched and approved this video, but there you go for people asking about it. It's there. Was that the one you had to get the adapter for to actually get to fit 40mm? Because was that the one you said to me about where it was originally like missing an adapter? Was that the one? I mean, I have masks I paid way too much for, gas mask collector, but it depends what you mean by overpriced. I think Avon says their filters have a shelf life of either 10 to 20 years, Werner, but I can't remember when they changed their 20-year one. So I think eventually Avon did the filters, didn't they, in like a plastic case, and then the filter was sealed in the plastic case that's meant to last absolutely forever. Oh, great. It's the 5G discussion coming back up. For those of you who aren't familiar with this, we don't really like to talk about conspiracies on these streams because a lot of people come from for real information, not 5G, like controlling people and whatever else. Up to you, Andrew. I mean, I've not got a satellite phone. I don't know if you'd have much use for it. If you have a use for it and you can get one for a good price, why not? No problem. I'll try and remember to watch it after the stream. The issue I sometimes do is I sometimes close the browser when I finish streaming and then think, shit, I had like 5 open tabs I was meant to look at after the stream. But for anybody that's on the Discord, if you ever make a video and want people to watch it, just post it in like the Discord general. I don't mind people doing that. Especially for people who like get into collecting masks or other bits of militaria and want to share stuff with people. I'm really happy for people on there if they want other people to find the videos just to post it on there. What is in the deal? The new rules with the government? I don't really get it. I mean, the stay-at-home one made sense, didn't it? The old rule, I totally got that right. It was go out if you're caring for somebody, if you need to do essential shopping, if you need to do something medicine-related, like going to the pharmacy or the doctors, or to go out for daily exercise. That I understand. The new rules, what exactly are the new rules? The only bit I can really remember from what Boris said today is the 1 to 5 scoring system, where they can amp up and amp down the controls based on where we are, like on a DEFCON style system. But most of it was like a time frame that was theoretical, which doesn't mean much, does it? Because if you have a time frame, then the slightest something changes, it gets thrown away, you know? The problem is with Discord stuff, Mom Spaghetti, because I think you put the link on the thing earlier, didn't you? I tend not to use Discord very much, except the group, just when people want to talk to me on the Discord. I think on Discord, I'm a member of the group I'm in, obviously, and I'm in like 1 or 2 other Discord groups that are just like friends who want to play games on Steam that, you know, I know in real life, and we just have a Discord group for whenever we go on there, so we can do a Discord group chat, not a Discord group chat, not a Steam group chat. But so in all honesty, I'd probably say no, I don't want to join it. Nothing personally against you, but I'd never be active on it, because every other Discord group I've joined recently, I've ended up leaving because I realise I never post on them. But I keep seeing notifications from them. It annoys me. Peach is back with Ben and Jerry's. Have you kidnapped him, Peach? You should be social distancing from them. I know you mean ice cream, really. Entertaining because you believed it, Swaggerino, or more because you like laughing at Alex Jones? The thing is, it's weird. With Alex Jones, I think when he first started out in the 90s, he did do quite good stuff. The problem is with Alex Jones, the more I watch him as time goes on, the more and more I think he's kind of getting a bit crazy. I was on the Argod Discord a while ago, Gas Mask Collector, but if you don't know, we won't go into it loads here. There's been loads and loads of e-drama concerning me and other people on there recently, and there's lots of very toxic shit going on. And I'm not saying everybody on God is doing it, of course, but I'm not on there because, in all honesty, I'm not going to put up with e-drama. You know, there's definitely some very good master discussion that goes on God, but I know a lot of people don't go on it anymore even, you know. Like I said, I don't really want these streams to turn into a really thing like he said, she said, can we talk about e-drama and stupid stuff? I'll talk to you properly, bots, when the stream's ended, sorry. Because otherwise I'll get a bit distracted jumping between that and the stream and I can't concentrate on too many things. Yeah, that's a katana on the wall. For the person called Mum that's PMing me, I don't know why when I say I don't want e-drama, somebody's talking to me about e-drama. But I'll read it later and respond to you properly. No, I don't have a son, Peach. But regarding medieval shit and all that, and swords, I did a video that goes on tomorrow about maces versus warhammers. Sadly, not a test between the two. That would be really fun, but it was more just, you know, maces versus warhammers in terms of the pros and cons of each. So, mace, Warhammer. This is the Warhammer Weapon Collector made, so if he's visible in the chat, you can click on his channel and subscribe to Weapon Collector and give him some views. But Warhammer, you know, like Horseman's Pick type hammer. The mace, Chris, is one made by Windless Steelcrafts, but I'd kind of not recommend it too much. Only just for the fact that, what's it? I'm trying to think of the reason. It rusts very easily. The reason being, I'll see if I can show you here, I had to re-oil it today. See that there's holes in the handguard. There's like a hole for a lanyard there they had on it. And that was a bit that was originally covered by the grip. The issue is that because it's hollow inside, it rusts inside. Now, I know obviously they made it hollow to reduce the weight of it, and the actual mace head is mostly not hollow. Like, the flanges are all solid and everything. But yeah, the issue is with these windlass steelcraft maces, as much as they're quite tough, how they've made them makes them very hard to clean properly, because you end up getting rust inside them, which probably lowers the structural integrity of them. But inside, where you can't do anything about it, all you can do is put some oil through the mace, having it upside down or one way up, put some liquids through it, put some oil through it, get some of the rust out that way, but there's no way of properly scouring the rust off the inside. Can I tell you my YouTube origin? What do you mean by YouTube origin? If you look on my channel, you can see my oldest video. I just found videos interested and did it as a hobby, and then more and more people started watching them over time. I think, Peach, if I ideally had a mace, what I would prefer is probably like a really thick wooden, like stick kind of thing, and then a metal head mounted onto the stick somehow, and in a way where it wouldn't come off easily. But maybe, like, I think I mentioned it in the video tomorrow, I was saying that potentially, just a metal collar on the stick might be an easier way of doing a mace. Because I know really old medieval maces were that design, really, which was kind of like a metal head just hammered onto a shaft. Yeah, Jack, it was made by Weapon Collector, who's in the chat. What he did is he can probably tell you what type of sort of pick hammer it was, but he got a type of like industrial kind of hammer, did a new handle for it, or like, essentially made the handle stronger, did a string wrapped grip, and then put like wood filler in it, so it's a lot more solid and not hollow. Yeah, exactly, Peach. That's what I mean, more iron, it's like a reinforced batten type thing. But I think, in all honesty, that's a better way of doing it than the fully steel mace that's then got, keeping it there. Rock pick. Yeah, that was it. Gas mask, how we normally do it is it used to be just a feature of people who wanted to donate, got on, because it was more of just a bit like how a lot of channels have a Patreon kind of, Discord type thing. Although recently I have invited quite a few people in just as like a community relations thing for free, if they want to contribute anything. So, but at the moment, in some ways, I'd rather have the least amount of people joining Discord as possible, just because of all the stupid e-drama shit that's been going on. Again, it's not something, I want to talk about too much on here, because as I said, I don't want to ruin good discussions in the streams turning into he said, she said. Hammerite Q-Rust. Let me look that up, Seymour the Fractal Cat, because if I can get that for a good price, I'll just fill the mace of it. All right, cool. Is it possible to pour it into a small hole? Because that does look like it would be useful, but I don't know how easy it would be to get it inside. Cool, Andrew. What type is it? The really cool ones I like are those like military poncho raincoats that transform into a tent, like a one-man tent. I think they're pretty cool. Nokia M61s are excellent, RC guy. I don't think the Finns have ever built a bad gas mask. Yeah, as a deal, it's horrible, isn't it, if they're making you feel guilty for not visiting people where you're technically doing a responsible thing by not seeing people and therefore not risking spreading an infection. I'll be off in about 10 minutes or so, because I just want to stream for an hour tonight and then have a bit of a sort of relax. Cool. It'd be interesting if everybody said bots if they came from my channel or wherever else, just because it's an interesting thing to know. No, I didn't, Ron. So it's like the East German one, the NBA. But I've got an NVA kind of raincoat, but it's just a standard raincoat, not... No, I wasn't in the Boy Scouts, Frog Boy Frog. That's all right, Bots. As I said, I don't mind giving shout-outs to other channel because, I think one of the things I get accused of a lot on here is that I don't always have the most factual videos on gas masks, and then everybody only watches my videos and repeats stuff I said. And what I've always said to people is, please do watch other people's channels. As I've said, my channel isn't so much really accurate historical videos on masks. It's more, how good is this mask if you're buying it for just general DIY use, protective use, and a cool bit of history. Because as, people can see behind me, this is why there's stuff in my channel name. There's body armor, there's swords, there's radiation detectors, I find a lot of this stuff interesting in general, but I don't really specialize in one area. So it's nice if people actually watch other people's channels and then say, oh, I learned something from this channel, and then I learned something else from that channel. Oh, Varu Strelka, however they're pronounced wrong. I can never pronounce it, but yeah, that's cool. I do check them now and again, but at the moment I really need to be careful, actually, and save a load of money. Because the problem what I do is I basically go, right, I'm not going to buy anything. And then something quite rare or I've never seen before pops up on eBay that interests me, I buy it. And I say, right, for this month, that's it. I'm not buying anything else. And then, a few days later, something else very interesting, or somebody sends me a message on here, says, oh, have you seen this bit of surplus? Isn't it lovely? And then, oh. So I think what I need to really do is ban myself, I think, sometimes from looking at eBay. I'll have to probably have one of those, like, school tier web filters, that what it does is basically, for the first couple of days of the month, I'm allowed to look on eBay, or something like that, and then I'm blocked from looking on eBay and other places. Sounds good stuff, Seymour. But yeah, I mean, the mace doesn't get used all that much, and it's still, integral and all that. What I did a while ago was I gave it a really, really good clean out the inside. Like, first I put loads of water through it. I know that might sound counterintuitive, but it was to get all of the kind of broken down rust material out of it. Then I soaked it, I think it was in paint stripper, just to kind of break down some of the stuff in there. And then I used a couple of different, like water removing lubricants on the inside. And then I put a load of oil through it. And since then, it's not been too bad. As in, like today, when I had to clean it down again today, but not much rust came out of it. All right, is that a euphemism, Darius? But for the most point, if I use the sword in a video, not if I get it down to show it, when people ask on the stream, but like if I do a video of Weapon Collector or somebody and we chop up a load of pumpkins or bottles, then it gets all dried down properly and oiled, just so it doesn't rust when it gets put back away. But for the most part, if it's sitting in its scabbard and it's been rusted, I don't see any point getting them out to re-oil them, because as long as they're sitting in their scabbard, they don't seem to ever really dry out or get, oily stuff on them like fingerprints or whatever. What did you get for £80? Sorry, Jeremy. Must have missed what you said. Israeli M15s, Jonan, sometimes on eBay. But the problem is with trying to tell people about any masks at the moment is if you say go on eBay to get a mask, a lot of the time they're not in stock. RC guy, it depends which nation. In the UK, I believe the police for a very long period did use Remploy NBC suits just in blue, or like a dark blue, like navy blue color, rather than being in like 95 DPM camo, this camo. So at one point they definitely did. I don't know if they've gone to different suits since then, but for a very long period they did, just in a different color. Yeah, Wargame Red Dragon's good fun. I think, weirdly, Crumpet Commandos, Wargame Airland Battle was the best one in terms of balance. But Red Dragon's a good game. It's one I put the most hours into. But no, Henry, it was one I bought. It was one at one point where a company was selling them for like £30 each on eBay. For a World War I replica, even though they weren't the highest quality replica, that wasn't bad, considering a lot of World War I replica masks like £150 to £200. But yeah, sadly, it's one of those things where I've barely seen any for sale since then. I'm all right, Blue Hernandez. How are you? How's California doing? Has it been bad in California, or has it been all right with Corona and everything else? Yeah, I watched 6 Days years ago, Sean. But yeah, that's a good film. They're actually using the right masks and filters in it, which is nice considering how many films like that have just completely random masks in and everything. The problem is, though, you can't wear the masks 24/7. And for all the good a mask can do, I imagine one of the most common means of infection is probably just not decontaminating something properly when you take it off, or maybe getting post through the letterbox that might have something on it. Well, Escape from Tarkov, no, I don't. That's good then, Seymour. Yeah, I might end up getting some of that at some point, but I'd have to probably get a really, really tiny funnel so I can get it inside the mace without wasting it. All right, cool, BC. You can have different masks on the designs, and you can choose different colors. It's not like orange only hoodies, but yeah, if you get one, it supports the channel. Thank you, because although it's not like a direct donation through like Patreon or Super Chat, it does mean that every couple of months I can cash out Teespring, and then I give 50-50 money to Bart, who draws the designs on there. So it does support me. And I would say Teespring stuff is actually really comfy. Like the t-shirts Teespring do and the hoodies are actually genuinely comfy. It's not like, I'm like, oh shit, it's an itchy hoodie, but I need to wear it because it's like branded merch. No, it is actually quite good in terms of yeah, exactly. That's my opinion, Harris, of a lot of this stuff. That if it's a replica mask that doesn't work, I wouldn't spend all that much on it, just because, it is a replica after all. Especially in the UK, I can't show it on the stream, unfortunately, but you can buy 1860s replica revolvers for like £50 to £100. I mean, personally, Charlie, what I don't get is, let's say they're soldiers and they're issued with a military respirator anyway, say it's the S10 or the GSR or whatever. Surely it's a bad thing with mask supply to get them to wear disposable masks and then bin them when they could just wear their regular military issue respirators. I don't know of any, dear love, other than the S10 flash hoods. In general, if you search flash hood, let me see if I can get you an example of one up. Flash hood. You could maybe get a big flash hood that fits over a mask, and it should work with most. Yeah, you can go on eBay. You can get the naval flash hoods. I know you're probably not in the UK, but if I link you to this, then you can look at it and see if it's the sort of thing you're on about. But yeah, I think if you got a generic flash hood like that, which is designed to stop, people getting burnt and operate anti-aircraft guns, isn't it, and stuff like that, or who are like firefighting, you could probably just wear one of those over the top of a mask, like a balaclava, maybe cut it to shape if you really wanted to, and then that would stop anything burning. A massive mix of music, Marty McFly, from stuff like industrial, classical, prog rock, soundtracks. Basically, if it sounds good, I like it. Oh, tell you what was a shame. Little Richard died the other day, didn't he? And I was thinking, which Little Richard songs do I know? And then I immediately realized it's the song they have in the helicopter bit in Predator, isn't it? Long Tall Sally or whatever it is. So yeah, that's a shame because he's like one of the early people in rock and roll. But they're probably slightly heat resistant, Harris. Yeah. I mean, you're still going to get really hot if you wear one for too long. I'm not going to sing it to you, Peach. I'll link you to it so you can I'd butcher that song if I tried to sing it. Oh, I don't want to get a copyright strike if that plays over the thing. But there you go. I reckon within the first 20 seconds you'd recognise it. Yeah, you'd have to ask Richard to sing it for you. Exactly, not me. Oh, what, like that? Harris, I'm a bit doubtful when it comes to stuff like that, because there's like the anti-flash style hoods for the PMKs, isn't there? And like the ROU's meant to be anti-flash material. But I think if you know how hot a heat flash actually is from a nuke, I think it would be, you'd have to be right on the edge of where it might cause a minor burn otherwise to protect you. Because yeah, considering like at certain distances from a nuke, it literally sets papers on fire and stuff like that. It's you're still going to get cooked underneath it. So mechanical keyboard, Blue Hernandez. If you want to type fast, you have to get a mechanical keyboard. Don't use a shit normal keyboard. Your best keyboard, IBM Model M. Sadly, mine broke after like 30 years of service. But mechanical keyboards, they don't cost that much now. Way, way better than the old shit keyboards most people buy. But yeah, what I hate really, I'll be off the stream in a minute and then I'll respond to any of the PMs I got while I was streaming. As in, the United States Navy is going to build Italian frigates for themselves, or they're going to build frigates for Italy. How do you mean, Green Man? Oh yeah, that's true, Grobmob, because people try and insinuate that I'm trying to give people bad advice. Otherwise, my thing is, I'm not qualified to talk about any of this, but people generally want to hear me talk about it. Otherwise, they wouldn't subscribe and watch the videos. I suppose that's true, Ian explains, isn't it? Yeah, if it was just the right distance away and it was just the right yield on a nuke, yeah, if it was frozen food, it would cook perfectly. If it was too close, it would be incinerated. Too far away, it wouldn't cook properly, yeah. The issue of the GOS to NATO adapters, AK-47, if you get the really good ones, they're good if you just want to put a filter on a GP5 easily. Supposedly, quite a few people are saying, they're not very good for actual CBRN protection because the 3D printed plastics don't withstand certain chemicals very well. But it depends what you want it for, because I think most people, in all honesty, who buy gas masks do not want them for full CBRN protection. I think you're a bit deluded. If you buy a mask and then go, right, nerve agent gets used, I'm completely going to be fine. No, you're going to be dead before you even realize the gas is being deployed. But if you just wanted a mask for general, like, sort of stuff, and then, you've got one in an emergency at some point, I think one of those GOS to NATO adapters would be fine for that. I don't know if he even said that BS. It's a very vague thing. They've said in some way something they relaxed it, but they're not really relaxing it. But the fines are going up. I don't even know. That's what I was trying to ask people at the start of this stream was, did we get any clarity from this? And the answer is, I reckon we will see that. The thing is, Germany is already having a second wave. Now they are easing restrictions, even when they were doing it very, very carefully. So I don't think you can avoid a second wave at all. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream on your way out. Stay alert or whatever the new thing is. The stay home one made sense to me, but yeah, stay alert. Anyway, yeah. I will see you on the stream tomorrow Tomorrow's video, as I said, originally I was planning on doing a video of the FLIR, but then I realised it wasn't charged today, and it took so long to fully charge up that I thought I won't do a video on what I was going to use the FLIR for. So, yep, tomorrow's video is the Warhammer versus the Mace, but it's not very exciting because it's just talking about the practicalities of each one, you know. Andrew O'Hagan has a very important message. He says, like the stream and subscribe. Thank you, Andrew. But yeah, see you all. Thank you to everybody that donated as usual. I appreciate it. And I'll be on for a stream tomorrow, probably between 6 and 9 p.m, I reckon, some sort of that time. Because when I look on YouTube, it says that's when the most people watch my videos. So there's that. But yeah, see you all then. Goodbye.